Well, hello to you watching us now. Welcome to Ray's Breakfast. Hashtag what are you saying? It's a beautiful Tuesday in the month of April, and on this vibrant, youthful platform, we tackle the conversations that, of course, matter most and concerns the very important demography of the society, the youth, paving a future where young voices can count in important matters today. And, of course, it's Tuesday. It's open for the ladies to dissect trendy topics and open it more for us to understand it. Of course, I will be your anchor for today. My name is Oluchi Omenka, and God's Beauty is on set with me. Hi, God's Beauty.
Hi, Oluchi. Did I do something wrong? This one I did not.
Oh, I didn't hype you up.
Most talented. What's going on?
I don't know. Maybe I just skipped it. But you're looking dazzling as usual. How are you doing today?
God's Beauty. I'm fine, thank you.
It's good to see you.
You're not looking bad yourself. What's exactly going on with the pink?
If you do not know by now that pink is my favorite color,
oh, yes, it's true.
You maybe do not know me. And I really don't know how that happened. For the longest, I used to love red because red had this dominating presence. You know, there's this color psychology where they say if you're wearing red, you're exerting dominance, it's powerful, shows authority. And I liked it for the longest. But all of a sudden, I started having more pink attire. And I think favorite colors can come with what you have the most. So I just said, this pink isn't looking bad on me. Maybe I should just imbibe it and use it as mine. So tell me, what's up with you? What's been going on?
Nothing more.
What's your plan for April?
Hey, plan for April. You know, past work, more work. You know, send proposals, get clients. And that's it for me, literally. I like to, explore. So, this month is the month where I'll be taking script writing a bit more serious. Because
just
of
like
the
you
stats,
always
actually.
do.
Exactly. It's just for me, it's just the stats. Because once you have that, there's that more dominance that you have when you're speaking to your clients. Do you understand? So there's some certain amount of money that I'm not going to be collecting after my certificate. Hallelujah.
Praise God.
That's literally like the plan.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just what it is.
That's just what it is.
How about you, tell me?
Well, same things as well. Just trying to, be better with whatever that you're doing. Because I realized recently that sometimes people might not. I think at this point, it's time to build enough proof with whatever you're doing.
I like that.
Because sometimes you can be that talented, that skilled, but if you've not done a number of work, if you don't have proof of the skill you seem to possess, when these opportunities come, they could have their own doubt. And we're in this world where social media matter now, your following, your engagement, and sometimes there are even very many skillful people that maybe not as active on social media, but because these clients want to see somebody that has a number of followers, it's almost like, oh, what can I do to be at that same level with those that are not even as good as me in that sense, but are getting this gig. So at this point, it's to do a 360 to ensure that, okay, as I'm developing my skills, I'm letting the world know my skill. It was just very recently that people started taking shameless marketing very seriously. Because we're in a world where if you do not tell people what you do, if you do not discuss what you do, you most likely not get anybody be involved in it. That's why you see some people that are not even as qualified getting certain gigs. How did they get it? They just had the audacity to ask for it. So in April, in May, in June, because I like to see my periods in quarters. I don't know. It just gives me this longer term to plan something more realistic. It's time for audacity. Be audacious enough to ask, audacious enough to send that email, to tell people about what you do. There was one time I was just having, it was in church actually, and I was actually whining this sister in that sense. And just funny, I mentioned what I was doing. She left. She now came back a few minutes later. I'm like, oh, I'm really interested in this thing that you do. Let's talk more about it. And I was like, oh, such casual conversation is about to bring a potential client in that sense. So this is urging every young person listening to us now that you're engaged in whatever creative space that you're thriving in. It's time to be audacious about your craft. Let people know what you do. And of course, the sky is your limit. Of course, we're going to take a short break now. And we're going to be opening up today in history. Afterwards, Okikiola Tayo Jalopon will join us on this table because our hot topic is very hot. We are about to challenge stereotypes in Africa, in Nigeria, as regards reproduction and reproductive health generally. So it's about to be a wonderful Tuesday ride. Of course, we'll be back after this short break with our headlines and then our hot topics. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population, and with little or no meaningful engagement, lives a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light from my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we'll analyze the key decisions influencing growth as a perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
Living in the past. It is a beautiful Wednesday morning and not Tuesday. And of course, the Folk Squad are here and ready to give you an amazing show. Right about now, we'll be scanning the papers of major papers in Nigeria and, of course, abroad. We have the Nigerian Tribune, we have the Guardian newspaper, and, of course, the international newspaper. And God's Beauty will be leading us internationally.
All right, straight into the international newspaper. Let me guide you through the Guardian newspaper. Top left, we have Who Do You Think I Am? My Life in Class Limbo. Top right, we have Syria Monica Jackson on Moving On from Dairy Girls. Center, that's the main headline. We have PM offers United States firms tax court in return for lower Trump tariff. Bottom left, rescuers killed by IDF had hands tied. Right column, which is the last headline on the newspaper, has United States officials challenge Ofcom over free speech. So I want to speak on this headline that says PM offers United court in return for lower Trump tariff. So the UK Prime Minister, that's Starmer, is offering tax cuts to big United States tech companies. In exchange, the UK wants the United States to reduce or remove tariff, that's extra charges on British goods. The United States tariff have made it more expensive for British businesses to sell their products in America. If this tariff are lowered, the UK businesses can sell more, helping the economy. Now, what's of concern to many people is that some people worry that giving tax cut to United States tech giants means less tax money for the UK government. Other fears that the United States may not fully commit to lowering tariff, leaving the UK at a disadvantage. So yeah, yesterday, if you guys remember, we were talking about the fact that the United States, in the name Trump, right, he's literally imposing tariff to all goods that are imported to the United States, be it from British goods or even or China or like from wherever it's coming from. It's just imposing tariff on it, and his excuse is that he wants the United States citizens to be independent, more like they should, independent rather, more like they should be able to, bring out their own products instead of having to rely on other countries' products, for sustainability and all of that. But now the UK president and Prime Minister rather has come out to, say that, okay, you know what, I hear you, but this is how I think it should work, because again, it is making, most of their the British goods very expensive, and that way you see many citizens in the United States will not be able to purchase the goods, because yes, it's expensive. So you know how we do it here in Nigeria, we'll start economizing and start looking for the cheaper ones and all. So what they now decided to do is, okay, so most of the United States firms, that's the tech-related firms now, they want them to, if for example, they are paying maybe 100 million naira, 100 million US dollars for tax, they are reducing it to 50. So I feel like that's a good one, I mean, coming from the UK. But the problem now is, will Trump see this as an opportunity? Will Trump see this as a good, a good way, and probably also reduce tariff from his end? I don't know if you understand. I feel like what the UK Prime Minister, honestly speaking, for every time we've talked about the UK Prime Minister, I feel like that man has a lot of sense. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, for every time we're talking about him, there's something wonderful that he's doing. I consider this to be a very good one, actually.
Both parties.
Yeah, he's looking, yes, because again, like I said, he gets it that, oh, this is, look at the standpoint Trump is coming from, and he looked at it and said, okay, because again, I think they've also complained about the fact that the tax that they pay, given that their tech companies, is too much. And Starmer look at it that, okay, you know what, from our own end, we'll reduce your tax, so you pay this certain amount, but at the same time, we want you to also reduce the tariff from your own end. I feel like this is, a very good talk. But what do you guys think about it?
Good talk as well.
Completely agree with
Good talk.
what you have said.
Yeah.
I like that headline that said, "Who do you think I am?" I did not bother reading the below thing, but that's like my mantra for this week.
Wow.
Anything you just say, I'm like,
What do you think I am?
That's what you got from the international paper.
Wow, lad. But again,
Therefore-
there's one other thing I want to also touch a bit, which is under this the bottom left that says rescuers killed by IDF had hands tied. So you remember yesterday we were talking about the Palestinians and the Israelis, right? Yeah. And if you remember, it was stated here that in the newspaper that most of these people that come together to take care of people that are injured and all of that, we actually killed about 15 of them. But it was stated on the newspaper now they were not just killed, they were executed. You know the difference? Where it's one thing to say, oh, because of the war, as this one is shooting there, that would have been okay. But this one, you captured these people, you kept them with you, then you tied their hands before you killed them. I feel like that's the Israelis sending signals to the Gaza individuals that it's not looking like they'll be having peace anytime soon. So I feel like it's important that we just state that out, so you guys know what's really going on there. It's not looking like there'll be peace anytime soon, honestly. But yeah, that's all I have for you on the Guardian newspaper.
And I wish everyone well. I hope they figure themselves
out. Honestly,
out
I like the way the Russians and the Ukrainian has.
Let's see
It's
what
crazy.
Taking you through the National Guardian, the headline reads, Discos may take 11 years, 1.4 trillion naira to bridge 7.2 million naira metering gap. And on the headline, we have it stating Nigeria's electricity prices from different numbers to how they're being circulated. And they mentioned here that the top performing discos that's distribution companies, in case you don't know, are Ikeja, Ibadan, and Abuja. And then we have low performing discos, which is Port Harcourt and Yola. On the right-hand side, we have federal government to withdraw idle oil blocks, charge IOCs to drill or drop. Below that, we also have Kano justifies Sanusi's reinstatement as monarch pays Salah homage. The last story on the right-hand side says Nigeria's net FX reserves rose to $23 billion in December, says CBN. And on the left-hand side, we have controversy over leaked tribunal judgment as Edo government, APC, PDP claimed victory. Below that, we have the story that reads, Oko and Don decry deplorable state of Nigerian varsities. And the last story on the left says, Niger exits multinational joint task force. Above the mask, let me just quickly read what the story says here. It says, I feel depressed over Rivers emergency rule, says Fubara. And on Natasha's story, Natasha returns in chopper, addresses supporters as Hihima, Kogi State. The last story here reads, Trump's third term bid, bad omen for Africa, says Ozekom and other lawyers. I want to quickly talk about the Nigerian varsities because so far we've been seeing the House of Assembly bringing up different, how would I put it, different bills, proposed bills to bring University of Agriculture, University of this, to honor some past governors by naming, creating a university and naming it after them. Different stories. And if you check most of the proposed bills, majority of them has a proposal for whether one university, whether one college of education, whether one this. And we see our existing universities being underfunded. The education system in Nigeria is already bad, but we now see cases where the universities especially experience terrible... When I was in school, I remember very well that there was one titration we were meant to do in 100 level. And for some reasons, in the booklet, it said we were supposed to get a wine color, and we got a blue color. And the lecturer was like, just write it, just write it. Just imagine that you got the blue color. Over time, out of curiosity, I had to go online to ask why I'm supposed to get a wine color, and I got a blue color. And they said the shelf life of that particular chemical, when it becomes expired in that sense, will give that kind of reaction, or when it's exposed to air, will give that kind of reaction. But to many other people, it didn't matter. They said we should assume. And then that's what we call underfunding, because we're supposed to have the right chemicals for the right titration, for the right results. But that doesn't happen. So I think that we should now start talking about how funding can go to Nigerian universities so that we can represent, not just theoretically, we can now represent practically, because Nigerians go abroad and the only thing that they can say that they have not learned is the practical aspect of what they have learned theoretically here in Nigeria. If it's theory, our head is full of theory, but what we lack is that practicality, and that's what I think that we should now start imbibing in whatever field of the Nigerian university institutions.
The motion to even want to name institutions after certain legends in that sense is not exactly bad. And you can even do that with existing universities. Because I remember there was a time, I think University of Lagos, they were about to change it to some other kind of name to honor someone, even though they fought against it. But at least it shows that if you really want to honor these people, don't bother about making universities. Because, I mean, why do we have constant strikes and constant people leaving the educational system to Nigeria to go abroad? Because of how things are. But if you want to honor people, that's fine. Use the current universities that we already have, state-owned universities, private universities, and maybe some federal universities. That's not a conversation that really holds water, if I would want to be sincere.
Again, Nigeria and the government or whoever that came up with whatever, they have left the main issue and they are focusing on what is not important in this country. But it's all right. It's hope, right? Oh, wow.
Well, let's see what the Nigerian Tribune has. Natasha defies all odds, arrives Kogi in helicopter. Talk about a dramatic appearance. Addresses large crowd in her homecoming rally. Says, I'm not a bastard, I'm an Ibira woman. I am not afraid of anybody. Lawmaker attempting to manipulate public sentiment, Kogi government says. How Nigeria can maximize $500 million World Bank loan. Immigration arrests 51 illegal migrants in Nasarawa. Ponzi operators risk 10-year jail term, 20 million fine, says Secretary. CBN reports $23 billion net foreign exchange reserves, highest in over 3 years. And above that, we see Ekiti Airport targets 24 hours flight operation, says Oyebanji. Insists Ekiti economy has improved under his watch. The last story here reads, NHRC reps Minority Caucus condemned killing of 16 hunters in Edo State. I thought we were even going to open up this Senator Natasha's story. It's quite interesting. I think I watched the interview and I watched when she was, you know, giving some sort of hope to her followers and people that were present at that homecoming. And I think, okay, it's good comeback, because many times if people have had terrible narrative in the media as regards their personality, it's okay if they come out, you know, to want to preserve whatever integrity that they can. I mean, that's a two-faced ex-wife, Anne Idibia. Did you see her recent video?
She was bouncing.
It was fire. Like,
Yes,
you
no.
guys, nothing has got me. I'm coming back hotter and better than ever.
That's
But
how it should be,
one
actually.
remarkable thing with her homecoming was her comment about coming back to the Senate. She was like, she's very eager to resume work. And she was even saying that if, peradventure, she's not given that opportunity, because there were rumors that after the 6 months, she might most likely not even be given her seat back. She said even if that happens, she's still going to do her best to ensure that her constituent in that sense, keeps making progress. And I'm wondering how this is going to uncover, but it's a good one, and I'm glad that everybody is back on their feet, at least for now. We're going to just wrap up this, and our hot topic is coming by you very shortly. Remember, you're the main ingredient in all of our conversations, and we'd love to hear your thoughts on everything we'll be discussing today. Our phone lines are open. Please call us on 070-2500-7749 or 070-142-42420. And if you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, head on now to our official Upgrade TV, click the subscribe button, like, share the link, tune into channel 145 on your Go TV, and do not miss this. We'll take this short break and return with our hot topic. Welcome back. Today's topic is on challenging African stereotypes on reproduction, and we're looking at the Nigerian perspective. In many African societies, including Nigeria, reproduction is deeply intertwined with cultural expectations, societal pressures, and religious beliefs. A woman's worth is often unfairly measured by her ability to conceive naturally, and men are expected to father biological children to continue their lineage. And these rigid ideologies contribute to the stigma surrounding alternative reproductive options like surrogacy, in vitro fertilization, that's IVF, and adoption. Even in cases where medical challenges hinder conceptions, couples often go to extreme lengths to avoid discussing fertility treatment publicly. Adoption is sometimes viewed as a last resort rather than a valid and loving choice to build a family. Meanwhile, genotype compatibility remains a major determinant in marriage choices, often leading to broken engagement or societal pressure to avoid certain relationships. But as science and personal choice continue to reshape narratives, the question arises, should our mindset evolve to embrace all paths to parenthood and love, or do traditional beliefs still hold value? And of course, I'll be discussing this with my best girls. Are you guys ready for this discussion?
Yes, we are.
Why is Kiki shaking her head?
Because it's
a sensitive topic, right?
And a lot of people I love discussing sensitive topics because a lot of people shy away from it.
Yeah.
But it's something that I've realized that it's a conversation that most people are not ready for. And then people have these biases sitting somewhere in their mind that if you like, use this topic, do it for the entire day. Whatever it is that's on my mind is what's on my mind. That's about it. So,
even though that can look true, the reason for that's why when people say we're doing orientation or we're creating awareness on certain topics, it's not because they know somewhere in their mind that immediately people want to change, but it's actually a way of challenging stereotypes, because whether or not they change drastically or we see things improve, it still challenges certain norms, and eventually, maybe as time goes by, we will see the needed, changes. Now, I saw this status on one of my friends' page, rather, and it was like she knows of a couple, pardon my verbiage, and they were AS genotype, but they were so in love with each other. And they really wanted to build something. You know, that kind of love that you only see in Korean movies.
Emphasis
the
on
love
that,
where the man is so thoughtful, the woman, it just seems so natural and, this is God said, nothing toxic in it. This is what we need to build. And that's how that love was described. But the only challenge was the AS genotype. And of course, you know, the normal African setting, medically said, they'll tell you, it's advisable that you do not proceed to have any children because you will be bringing, those children will sweat for you when they arrive. Do you understand? Because of the risk of sickle cell. But then people were questioning that, why should you put a halt to your love because of children that you have not even seen? Like your love is already, you know, predetermined, or your love can even grow because of you are just putting children in view, children that you have not even met. You don't even know who those children will turn out to be. And someone was like commenting that, honestly, this whole idea of AS people splitting up because of their genotype to go find somebody else that they're not even in love with should not be the norm anymore. That AS people should be comfortable with getting married with themselves if they truly love themselves and damn every natural way of giving birth. That even if children, of course, is still your desire and you want to have it, you should address or rather seek other alternatives to have these children. What are your thoughts on this?
Let me start. So, let me first talk about the medical aspect before I address the AS love conquers all.
Love conquers all, bros.
So, not in Nigeria. I think in the Western world now, there's now something called genetic mutation.
Yeah.
So that is if you are so in love and then you feel like I can't do with this person, and we want to have children. There's now an institution or a medical institution that will take your sample, your husband's sample, tamper with it a bit, and then create children for you. And that's one of the things that we're going to be opening up about. So that one, you can still retain love while producing more children that are genetically mutated.
Right.
But that's very expensive. On the idea that because you have found the one for you, so therefore you should damn all consequences, I think that is absurd. I feel that people should know, if you know that you want to bring kids into the world, you need to consider, it's a standard, you need to consider the consequences of bringing children into, there's consequence for everything. So now I'm narrowing it down to bringing children into the world. If you have AS, we've seen where people, before, they used to say the firstborn will be AS, secondborn will be AS, and thirdborn is the one that usually gets the sickle cell. But we've now seen cases where even the first
can be
sickle cell.
Yeah.
So why risk a sickle cell child, knowing the financial burden, knowing the emotional burden, knowing the physical burden of taking care of such children?
Right.
You now think that because love conquers, love does not conquer challenges to that extent. True. Where sometimes you will not sit back and think that, why are we even doing this? So now there's the option of a child-free marriage, which is not the typical Nigerian thing. Right. We say we love each other so much.
And that's why they are
we don't
challenging
want,
it.
Yes, we don't want children.
Take that other alternative.
Yes, our love is strong. It's like Olumorok. And so therefore we will live a child-free marriage, which a lot of Nigerian people would, want to go against. But these are the options. So while I'm challenging the stereotype, I'm also stating that there are options for people who have found themselves in that sense and who feel that this is too much of love, of commitment to just move on with somebody else. Right. There's the option of being child-free. There's the option of genetically mutating children into this world. There's the option of surrogacy. But I don't know how factual that is when you have to bring the AS and AS together still. So it basically falls back to genetical mutation.
Interesting. Godrich, what's your own thoughts on this?
For me, honestly, I feel like
AS that love themselves so much.
They can always get married. See, the truth is, just like you said, in as much as we all know that love does not conquer certain things, but if the both partners feel like they can deal with it, then it's on them. Do you understand? And just like you state, we have surrogacy, we have adoption. I don't have an issue with adoption. I feel like every child is your child. I'm not joking. Like, that's how I feel. let me not go into details about me personally, but I just feel like when it comes to, you know, having, I mean, given that medically now, they both are not fit to, you know, have, you know, children and build a family together. But if they feel like they want to do it, we already mentioned some maternity already. You already talked about some adoption is there. Do you understand? There are other ways that we can go about these things with them still being together. So, yeah.
I think it's more common in the Western world where
not
we
in
have
Nigeria because of the culture.
marriage, like what you mentioned. I remember this is a stereotype I'm also even trying to deal with. I remember having a conversation with a friend from school then, and you know when girls are just dreaming about their future husband and children, and then she mentioned very clearly that I don't want to have kids, and I felt like, this kind of, why do people have this kind of mindset? I felt like that's a disgrace to womanhood for you to say you do not want to have kids and all of that. People have several reasons for why they do not want to have children.
Kids, yeah.
I'm just wondering that in our nation or as Africans, Nigerians that we have, do we think that we can get to that point where people can be comfortable with someone not wanting to have children? Because looking at that dynamic, it was a very heated argument. People were like, oh, why should you consider children in marriage? If you love yourself, just get married. Don't even bother about children. Grow old together. Do your thing together. I mean, they do it in the Western world, right? You don't even need to adopt. If it's that you're also thinking of the cost and everything, you don't need to adopt, you don't need to do surrogacy, you don't need to do IVF. So I'm asking this question now. How do we combat that mentality of a child-free marriage? Is this something that we should let people be liberal enough to choose or not choose? Or do you think that it's going to be difficult to do so in the kind of cultural setting that we are in?
Obviously.
It's going to be
very difficult.
Yeah,
There's rarely any Nigerian mother or father that will be like, the way mothers especially, the way I brought you into this life, that's how I want you to also bring somebody into life. There's a pride, there's a this, there's a that comes with childbearing. So it's going to be very hard to convince people or change people's mindset about whether or not people want to live child-free or about IVF. There's so many cases that I've seen where the woman will have to watch where she has to talk about, or because I couldn't conceive, or I could hardly keep a baby in my stomach for more than 3 months, and so I had to opt for IVF. Before she's going to be able to say it, it's almost like she's confessing and she's looking for sympathy. It's not like she's now saying that I did what most people would run away from, and I know that I would love to have a child, take care of the child, give it all the love that he needs. So because I couldn't do this, I had to opt for this. But I just feel like people don't even need any explanation anymore. If I meet you and I already know that you have the mindset of, I can't be child-free, I can't do surrogacy, I can't do IVF, if that is your mindset, I don't waste my time.
Simple.
If I convince you, I'm going to over-explain and justify to the point where I will start to sounding stupid to myself.
Yes.
Because you can be in a heated argument with somebody, you will not want to make sense anymore. You just want to take the person's brain, open it, pour the information and zip it back. So I just see that, okay, what's my own decision as regards this thing? Do I think that if I do this, so I'm trying to put the role of surrogacy, IVF, adoption in one bracket and put the idea of child-free in another basket because it's not the same thing, right? So I'm talking about people who eventually want to have kids and for so many reasons, it has become difficult for them to have kids. Sometimes even surrogacy is not born out of the fact that they can't keep children inside. Sometimes it's the psychological effect of childbirth.
Right.
I've learned from my mom, she has 7 of us, and I've learned from my mom that she did not give birth to all of us. Like the experience was not the same. When she's telling us about the first one, she said, oh, it was my leg that was swollen. Or when it was your own turn, it was my eyes that could not see. When so there were so many differences with those 7 kids from one woman. So some people can think about the psychological effect of giving birth or the physical changes or so many reasons for why, okay, I would rather opt for surrogacy because these people have claimed that they are professionals at it. They don't mind the consequences. They don't mind this. Some people go insane. There's a mental illness that some women face when they give birth to children. So the uncertainty of what I can become after I'm pregnant or after I give birth, Sometimes it's the fear behind surrogacy. Sometimes it's just that I can't give birth, so I will opt for surrogacy. So I think the awareness there is that don't even ask me why I did it. Just know that I did it. Chimamanda did it, and she had her twins. And everybody has said that the fact that it did not come from your womb.
They felt betrayed on somebody else's child. They felt
Betrayed.
like, yes.
They say because it did not come from your womb, you are not a woman, and that kind of stuff. And she might just feel like she doesn't want to open up on why she opted for surrogacy. She might even come and say, because I'm a feminist, and that might be the front for it, that because I'm a feminist, and so therefore I can choose to be who I want, and all of that stuff. But in the bracket of I want to bring a child to life, there's so many options that are available that I think that are not the natural or the how would I put it?
Ibrahim woman style.
Over the traditional style of the
giving
Nigerian perspective of how to give birth to a child. There's even the you cannot give birth through cesarean section. Is the if you cannot
we're going to
like a Hebrew
I want you to hold that thought. We're going to take this short break and we want to hear your comments as well. What you think about traditional ways of reproducing, or maybe even taking these new innovations that we have to bear children. Do you think it's something we should start adopting as individuals, or we should still fight it and go the traditional way? Anyways, we'll take this short break, and when we return, we'll continue the conversation. Stay with us.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we'll analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
Welcome back. We're still discussing over, we rather want to challenge certain narratives and stereotypes, African stereotypes towards reproduction. I gave a clear, real-life story of, AS couples that wanted to still, do the whole love conquers all thing and go ahead with their marriage, even though they know that having a child can be very risky. So I've opened it up. We've seen surrogacy, we've seen adoption, we've seen IVF. In fact, in recent times, it looks like more celebrities, maybe because of their public stance, have been coming out these days to let us know that this child you're seeing, I had her or him through IVF. I think Stephanie Coker has done that in Yedo. There was even a time that there was this rumor that Kate Henshaw had adopted a child and everything. But there's something that is very clear in all the comments. Instead of saying natural congratulations, people are putting their own 2 cents on a child that you're not going to raise, on a child that nobody really cares about you. This is their own choice to how they want to have children. So now we're challenging different stereotypes. And my next question is about the men and the women. Do you think that men in Nigeria struggle with accepting alternative methods of reproduction, using adoption in that sense? Because I've watched movies where the woman was already tired of the whole cries, going to church, praying for the fruit of the womb, and she wanted to opt for adoption. But the man is like, adoption, you're going to adopt another child, another spirit. They will tell you, you don't know the spirit that is in that child. Even though I'm sure in most of these orphanage homes, they are training good children, and sometimes you can even catch them very young. But it seems as though some people still don't want to take on that. They feel like, I can't just train somebody else's child. I don't know the kind of gene. Some even, the worst is when they put spirituality to it, that do you know the spirit that is in this child, in their family, and you want me to give him my son name. So it's almost like there's such challenges that come up. And we're asking that the question that, do you think men in Nigeria struggle with these alternative methods as compared to women?
Yes, they do. Even women do. The thing is, it's a cultural problem. Do you understand? I don't know if cultural problem, I don't know how I put that together, but nobody should come for me. But you understand what I'm saying, right? Again, it's something that's already down culturally. Oh, as a man, in short, even in the Igbo land, as a man, you're not a man until you have an heir. Apparent to whatever throne, even if it is, even if, I don't know if
many of them don't have any
exactly,
thrones.
Exactly. Even if it's one plot of land, I'm supposed to have someone to inherit it. Like, it's just a cultural
Why
thing.
can't a woman inherit it? If you have girls.
Thanks to the Yoruba people. It's Yoruba
Yes,
people
I was
that
about
have
to say that
Igbo people don't have that.
in my own
Yoruba people have
state,
that.
Yeah.
or from my own village, even as our current king has ties, if you take it back to his history, is actually the mother's side that he comes from, and now is the Oba of Isolo. So for the Yoruba people, or my own, let me not say for the Yoruba people, my own village still has some level of inheritance that is being passed on to the women, from some rights that the woman have, where you can take over your father's properties, your father's throne, of whatever stuff. Even some other Yoruba states have regents. Instead of them calling them kings, they call them regents. So they are women king. I don't know why that is.
So coming back, I mean, probably it's the Muribi, whatever, but that's a story for another day. So coming back to the issue, right? Again, like I said, it's a cultural thing. So of course they would always have that issues. But I mean, even down to when you hear, you know, people that want to, like you made mention of the fact that woman wants to, you know, for adoption and all of that, and you hear cases of, oh, you don't know who the father is. If the father is an armed robber, there's every tendency that the child will be an armed robber. I feel like when it comes to adoption, there's really nothing like that. If you have to first of all check this child, is the person medically fit, you know, mentally, and all of that, and this child is okay, then what's the problem?
But again, the gene actually play a role in how a
that's
person
what I said.
There are
medically,
two schools of thoughts now in psychology.
Tell me.
There's the nature and nurture, where a person's characteristics and personality is largely because of the genes that made up that person. And there's another school of thought that says that, yes, even though that can be, you know, a major reason, that nurture, the environment in which they grow from, can also help in shaping their personality. So I guess many people that have that fear, they are focusing on that school of nature, the fact that a man is a man because of the two genes that made him. That man and woman that made this child will really determine how that child turns out to be. So there's that fear too, which is legit.
Do you remember that there's a time we had a therapist on the table, and this person said that when it comes to children, right, whatever they exhibit as grown up is what they learn when they between their age of 1 to 5.
So that means adoption.
So I'm sorry, but this actually just can't.
So that means
I feel like when it comes to
adoption when they are very young. But some people also adopt people that are teenagers as well, or they are toddlers. They've grown. They've had that experience that was not in your house.
I don't see how very realistic that. No, I don't think realistic is the word, but I feel like it really doesn't make 100% sense. If you want to adopt children and you want them under your cover, it has to be when they are very, very young, so that then you're training them, you're teaching them. You're instilling your own values into them.
So what's going to happen to the 10-year? So I think that I'm even the wrongest person to talk about adoption.
She has 70 children in her.
No, I actually have 450 in one school.
Me.
Oh, wow.
And another 120 in another school. And just yesterday,
Mother of all nations,
I have
Sarah.
Another 10.
Kiki Sarah.
I have another 10 yesterday, and the two that I've highlighted is Amina and Maureen, which I'm going to be sending them to school. And I didn't have to care about whether they are gender. While that can play a role, I feel that where I can come in is through their education, and that's where nurture can also play its own part, where I feel that the lack of education, the lack of awareness, the lack of good exposure, because we now have exposure having two different meanings. Yes. Good exposure would help them, you know, navigate their life without necessarily somebody saying, come into my home and live with me. So I think I'm the wrongest person for adoption. I used to adopt
I feel
every
like
day.
I
If
feel
you
like
have-
But your
I feel like the adoption varies.
They are not
They're
in
not
your house.
exactly.
You are not
They
giving
don't have
them
your surname.
surname.
Bless you.
You are
So
not
those are like
100%
two different
involved.
things.
Even
But that
though
is
you
also
are-
challenging stereotype that must you adopt a child and bring the person home to
No.
now give, because some cases, some people
Tell me.
people adopt children. Like now, they have a stereotype to how they will adopt, and that is what Gosbity was saying, that it has to be a baby. So if you're adopting a child, what is your reason for adoption?
That works.
Do you
Because
understand?
I can't have
Your
a
why?
child.
I
I
can't
want to
have-
have a child. And
Yes.
I'm thinking this is an alternative.
So
want
am
to
I
give this
skipping-
child my surname
Am
to
I
make this child
skipping
look like
the-
it came from me?
Me, bless you.
That is another thing of trying to settle with either societal or cultural problems where
Yeah.
you want to fake a pregnancy. Sometimes some
Yes,
people
some people
fake
do
a
that.
pregnancy.
And some people do that. We'll
Yes,
take that
some
out.
will take a child so that they can say that after all, if I
my
start
pikin.
from this stage, it automatically becomes my child. And some people also forget that you might even have the best of kids from 5, 10, 15, 20-year-olds. Because some people, no, I'm saying 20-year-olds because some people have experienced life so badly that once you come, the idea of adoption is like you are taking in this child
Yeah.
regardless of background, medical history, consequences. When you were talking about whether the child is medically fit, some people adopt how would I call
Special
it?
needs.
Special needs children because they feel that these are the people that I feel that I'm more
needs to be-
connected to.
Okay.
And I would need more of my help, more of my nurture, more of my nature, more of my love, basically,
More of everything from
more
you.
of everything from me. So adoption is very
That's what I
widespread.
said,
It's
it's
not
very
really
varied. And it-
one child medically fits a baby or all of
No,
that.
I think it really depends on the individuals, we're talking about.
Yeah.
Now, Okiki, as you are someone that you see people that are in need or whatever, and you feel like, oh, this person, I want this person to be my child, this person should be part of me. You want to take them to school and all of that. There are some persons that feel like, oh, I'm getting old and I need a child that would be my surname, that will inherit my throne, you understand? So everybody has different reasons why they are adopted. But the main focus is the fact that you have that mind to bring in another child from wherever you bring in the person from into your life. I feel like that's something that we should note. Do you understand? Because again, culturally is something that culture is against. You have to have the child from wherever. You have to, deliver like the Hebrew woman and all of that.
Let's even
But
go to that
again,
Hebrew. Let's
tell me.
pause on the adoption and go to that CS thing. We've seen in recent times, I think it has even gotten better.
Yes, it has.
Years back, it was like a taboo to mention that I had my children through CS. It's almost
Yeah.
like, are you not a woman?
Child.
I had my own children naturally. I have 7, 9. I gave birth to them myself. And it was a thing of pride. And now if you see women that probably had 2 to 3 CS, they're like, you're not that kind of woman. So let's challenge such situations. And I think we should just even wrap up the discussion by addressing how people should treat people in their journey to having children. Because one thing I've noticed across board, maybe because I try to be as empathic as possible, is that I notice that people don't treat people well. When it comes to having children, it's a sensitive thing.
Yes, it is.
There are people that have just gotten married, and the next question you are popping to them is 9 months.
When are you
Abi?"
having kids?
9 months time.
Who told you that's what I want to have in
Equation.
9 months?
Right.
I probably want to start a company with my husband in 9 months,
you
not
understand?
children yet.
Let's make the
That's not
money.
what we want to birth. But people will have their own alternatives. And if you've not seen somebody have a child in 5, 10 years, why should you be the one to comment? You married the same time with this woman
It's a
now.
decade now.
Her child is already in primary 5. I think we need to start challenging things. So how do we address people's comments to people's journey towards having children, as well as the CS Hebrew Roman thing?
Okay, let's go.
As a lady, as a woman, when you eventually take on the role of bringing a child to life, I think the first thing you should always think about is the safety of that child.
Right.
It's not about what society is saying. It's not about...
What people think.
It's the verified people. I'm talking about your doctors. I'm talking about your, maybe your psychologists. Focus on making sure that you are mentally okay. The child is physically and can come out without any challenges. Because most of the time we've seen how children are being affected by most of the experiences that the mother faces while in that journey. So taking out what people will say, I think that women should be more focused on how they can take care of themselves not your family, not your friends, not whoever commentator that has not done theirs would be saying to you. It should be you, your child, bringing that child to life, taking care of yourself, and ensuring that that child lives a blissful and, you know, prosperous life, basically, with you and yourself and your partner, hoping that you have a supportive partner.
So what's your own advice to people, to individuals generally, on their comments towards people on their journey to having children? How can we
have
address
advice
that?
for them. People should continue commenting until you reach your turn.
Do you understand?
That's it.
Emphasis on that. See, the truth is, people would always talk. I understand it, and that it gives me a lot of peace. Because then, like I said, people would always talk. If you fall for ground, why you fall? If you stand, why they stand? Your leg be like yam. People
You're
will
saying
always
this
comment.
because you have built this,
Don't do
this
that.
stance that makes you not to fall when people
I
talk.
get it,
There are
but
certain
that's
people
why.
that talk that you're saying is making them get into depression daily.
I've seen others commit suicide.
Because of that talk. So it can be that people talk and all. Yes,
See,
but it shouldn't be the norm.
It shouldn't be the norm.
It?
But that's what's happening. Everybody has a mouth. Even in law, it's where your own rights stop, now where my own start. So you see that everybody has rights. Do you understand what I'm saying? You are free to say whatever that you have to say. I mean, except, let's not take it to law. But coming back to the normal conversation, right? See, like I said, people would always talk. So I think people should start growing that tough skin. Start understanding that. Trust me, when you have that mindset and it's registered in your head that no matter what I do in this life, people have something to say. See, you would have that peace. So, and I don't see a reason why you should now start explaining yourself to people. Oh, you did, you know, for you to have a child, you had to get like a surrogate. You don't concern anybody. You did IVF. You don't concern anybody. You adopt PK. You don't concern anybody. Trust me. People care less. That's the interesting part. Only would say that is because they are very lazy and they don't have work. That's the reason why they are prognosing into other people's affairs. Yes, because trust me, the both of us know we are very busy. So why would I be concerned about whoever did IVF or whoever did adoption and all of that? So you should understand that people would always talk. When you have that noted down in your head, you care less about what every other person has to say. Yeah.
So people should just build a tough skin.
Yes, it's
How about when
important.
they have to deal with family members, relatives, or
I
people?
was about to say that even that's why I mentioned supportive partners. Because sometimes your enemy is the one who you so loved dearly and you people got married and one time
love conquers
the partner has been like, I want a child, and you being a woman trying to satisfy your husband, be like, okay, the fact that I can't bear or conceive a child, let me go through IVF, and then is that partner that is saying, so ordinary, I just marry you, your stomach cannot hold any water.
But that's why it's important that before you get married to certain persons, you should have the conversation. I'm so sorry. When we're with a partner that's not open to adoption. I am so open to adoption right from when I was
some
very
people don't
young.
have this.
That's
See,
the problem.
the fact that it's a stereotype, and that's why we were talking about challenging stereotypes. These things are not normal conversations, and that's why we are talking about it. So that these are 10, 15 years ago, AS and AAC, IC, whatever, was never a conversation that people have during their first dates.
Yeah.
But now when I know that I want something serious. In fact, people that don't even want anything serious,
But I feel like
they would have
it's a
asked you.
question.
It is not.
That is why we are challenging stereotypes now.
It is not.
If I ask you, are you AS or AA? If you answer me, whatever goes on
Let's
from
pay
there.
the bills
let's-
and never see ourselves again.
for
I was going
real.
to say something. We were saying
Tell me.
supportive partners and all. But I think my own advice would be for people to really look well before leaping. Because
Simple.
people change.
Yes.
A man can form Korean love for you now and let you know love conquers all. I don't really
that's
care
why you
about
should not
having
also be-
children. And so let me tell you the truth. Love is a very vulnerable space. Right? And at that time, that's why they used to say love is blind. Because maybe the thing has not hit you yet.
You guys, I'm sorry, I don't
There are
think
some
love is
people
blind,
that
though.
they are so involved with these emotions and whatever the partner says and they get into it. And let's even give the partner a benefit of the doubt. Maybe they truly wanted to continue this relationship even without considering the whole childbearing difficulties. But when the going gets tough, as people say, they begin to recount
The
on
stuff
their
did not get
promises.
going.
They begin to go back on the words that they've said, many times from societal pressure or parental pressure. So I think it's a bigger thing. Sometimes it's easy to say and give advice, but people have different experiences and how they've gone to challenge these things. So our parting words for you would be to be sensitive as human beings. It's not in your place to comment on somebody's childbearing journey as much as possible.
Reproductive journey.
Reproductive. It's not in your place. If they've not had children for over 5 years, if they are just having children few months into marriage, it's still not in your place. Give your congratulations, move away, give gifts if you have, and do not really comment on people's reproductive journey because it's different for some people and people's experiences really differ. And this is where we've come to the end of today's show. Quite interesting. I'm sure I'm going to have these conversations with the girls after because Girls really still has some things to say.
Trust me.
But of course, Thursdays is tomorrow and we'll continue our conversation on 2027 politics. Tomorrow we're opening tribal wars and different things. Another war again on this table. Catch us again tomorrow by 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. and have a great day. Bye.
This is Usayome Sale from Ways Prime Time. Now, we appreciate your continued support for watching our content, following us across all our social media. But we've noticed, for those of you watching us on YouTube, 88.5% of you who watch our content aren't subscribed to our channel. Why? Now, if you are enjoying our content, you enjoy our shows, and you want to stay updated on all things Ways, it's time to hit that subscribe button below. Now, subscribing isn't just for you. It's for the growth of our channel. It helps us get bigger and better. With your support, we can continue to bring even more intriguing and exciting content. How about you subscribing right now and being a part of our community?